sophomore. I'm a sophomore and I go to UT Arlington and that's it. Oh, and I'm an architecture major.
Thank you, Rigo.
My name is Kenneth Walker. I go to UTPB, and I'm a kinesiology major.
Kenneth, I too was a kinesiology major years ago, many moons.
Okay, my name is Cameron. I go to Baylor. I'm an international studies major, and I'm gonna be a sophomore.
Everyone, my name is Alia. I'm going to be a sophomore this year as well. I go to Rice and I'm studying chemical and biomolecular engineering.
Woo! As y'all can see, we have a wealth of majors, and everyone is in different areas of their studies and in different areas of the state. So, for one, we have some questions that are kind of just pre-scripted, is what we will call them, pre-scripted. But again, this is your time to really get some real and honest feedback from students that, for one, graduated in 2020, so lived their entire senior year in COVID, started college in COVID, and now, transitioning into summer and potentially back into most would consider kind of normal college experiences. So as you have questions, feel free to share them in the chat, and we will get to them as well. All right, so first question. I'm going to just open this up to everyone. So, how did you make your final decision about which school you wanted to attend? And do you think that you made the right decision for you? Rigo's thinking, and Kenneth turned his camera off.
Well, for me, it was funny because I never got to meet the campus. I didn't go on tour or anything to the campus. I just chose it because honestly, they were giving me a lot of money, and money. Let's be honest, money is one of the main criteria for college. So you could be supportive and you could have anything. Also, after I chose it, and then because I was a in person, like I lived on campus, and I just connected with the campus. So after that, I feel like the campus was also one thing that helped me chose the college I wanted to go to.
Very good. If y'all didn't hear Rigo, what y'all can take from that is that he went where the money resided. That's where he went, where the money resided already.
So that kind of happened in my situation too. I ain't even go visit the school that I went to, but I always heard about it. I knew how it looked and stuff, but I went to my school because the distance, it was far from home, but it wasn't too far. And I had an academic scholarship also, and I had a football opportunity too. And I don't regret nothing I made, any decision I made.
Ollie or Kim?
Okay, for me, similar to them, there was definitely a huge financial point, and also I think like I Baylor was one of the only schools I got to visit like frequently, and there's a good like community sense, so I just felt like it was the right fit for me.
Yeah, for me, so I'm from Houston, and so I've always grown up like seeing Rice, and I had visited the campus before for like science Olympiad competitions through school. So I had gone there, and I know that I just really liked the campus, the culture, the people were really nice. And I think at the end of the day, money was definitely a big factor. They were giving me a really good scholarship, so I made my decision, in large part based off of that. But I also, took into account as I was, sort of applying that, it had the right program for me because I knew I wanted to do chemical engineering and they have a strong program for that. And so I picked it based off of that. But I think one thing that I just wanted to say about like final decision making is that there are probably going to be multiple colleges that end up being good for you. You might get, multiple schools where there's a scholarship. So I think at the end of the day, you want to go where your gut feels is good for you and where the culture is right for you, because that is also a very important part about, fitting in and being comfortable in college, because that's going to be your home for the next 4 years.
Absolutely, absolutely. Anybody else anything else you want to share just based on that question? And I think what we can take from what everyone said is go to what is the right fit for you, right? Like, in high school, you have your friends and that's your circle and those are your people. And so if a group of them are like, well, I'm going to go to UH and you know that UH is really not on your heart or where you want to go, don't, know that this is your time to absolutely step out and do what is best for you, like make the right decision for you. It's so funny. Rigo and Kenneth both talked about how they did not visit their campus. I was the same way. I was actually planning to go to University of Tulsa, and like we had figured out everything with the expenses of being out of state. And then I think it was probably May, the week before my high school graduation, and I decided that I didn't want to go there anymore. I wanted to go to Stephen F. Austin. Best decision I could have made, but I never set foot on the campus. I didn't know anyone, and I was just like, this is that it just felt right. So absolutely go with what feels right for you. Follow your heart. And the good part about it is that you can absolutely change your mind. There's nothing wrong with that either. But definitely go with what is the right fit for you financially, what makes sense, all those things. Consider all those things when making your decision. All right, question 2. Oh, this is a good one, and this is also something I did not participate in. Did you participate in roommate selection, or did you room for someone from high school? The roommates, college roommates.
Me personally, I selected my roommates because it was kind of unprofessional, but I emailed them and said I can't be roomed with nobody else if I don't know. So but I roomed with people I went to high school with. But right now, because I'm in summer school too, I'm at home right now, but I'm in summer school for football and like a couple classes. I'm roomed with, I don't even know them like that, but I'm roomed with one of my teammates. Yeah, so right now I'm doing some of my teammates.
I feel like Rigo has a funny story because he is laughing too hard about the roommate situation.
I am funniest story. Well, I actually did choose a roommate. Oh my god. I chose a roommate, COVID and all that. Chose a roommate. He did the same thing as Kenneth. Email him like, hey, what's up, man? I'm gonna be your roommate. I'm so glad I didn't know him. That was the other thing. So I was just a little bit nervous. I didn't know if he was gonna be clean or something like that. But like a week passes by, I get the email from my roommate. He's like, "My apologies, bro. I think I'm not gonna be living on campus because of COVID. So you're probably not gonna have a roommate." So I was like, "Okay." So first semester I didn't have a roommate for at least 2 months. Then one of my friends that I met like already in college, he's like, "Hey man, I know you don't have a roommate, so like, can I be your roommate? Can we do the paperwork and all that?" I was like, "Sure, man." So we did it, and like a week later, I was helping him move out, and all you see was that he called three guys in the campus just moving the stuff from one dorm to another dorm. Funniest thing ever. Now for second semester, I didn't have no roommate because my friend was like, we're just doing. He was like, I'm just gonna do online classes, so I'm not gonna be rooming with you anymore. So for second semester, I was alone in the two bed. How do you call? In the two bed, like for two people, just a room all to myself. So I was living life in a way.
Yeah, I also have like sort of an interesting roommate story. So this past year I was virtual, which meant that of course I didn't have a roommate because I was at home. But for next year, basically the way that my roommate selection worked was that I could choose to live in like a single room or a double room with a roommate in my dorm. And so for the longest time, I thought I was going to be in a single, but then at the last minute, I sort of decided that I wanted to be in a double but because it was so last minute, most people had already, sort of made their decisions. So, this random girl like texted me and she's like, hey, I saw that you need a roommate. Do you want to be roommates for next year? And I, didn't really have a choice. So I was hoping for the best and I said yes. And so I Zoomed with her a couple days later. And the funny thing was that I realized was that she lives like 5 minutes away. So we didn't know each other like from, high school at all, but we would have gone to the same high school. She just went to a private school. So I think it's just interesting how that worked out and how the world is so small. So I don't really have like too much advice to give y'all since I haven't been through that process myself. But I guess that what I can say is that, hopefully things will work out, in the end. So maybe don't be too nervous about it.
Or I got one more thing, like the person you is gonna room with, make sure you know them a little personally, because like the roommate I got now, it's a 4-bedroom apartment. Like it's like with a kitchen stove and all that. This dude is so dirty. Like some people they so used to being like held by their parents. This dude he asked me how to make noodles, and then I woke up and the sink was stopped up. Like, so make sure y'all, like, whatever y'all do, just make sure y'all know the person y'all be in room with, because that's why I'm getting changed in the fall. Like, it's making me mad thinking about it. But
yeah, I really agree with what Kenneth says. And I guess one thing that I want to reinforce is that if y'all can't meet in person with your roommates, then definitely meet over Zoom. I feel like that's one thing that we've learned from the pandemic is that virtual meetings make a lot of things possible. So, just get to know your roommates, bond with them, FaceTime, Zoom, Microsoft Teams, whatever is good for y'all. And just, let out or set out your expectations also. I think that that's, if you get that out of the way in the beginning, then that sets you up for a successful semester ahead so that y'all don't keep it in and then just resent the other person. Just make sure you're clear about your boundaries and then, everybody's hopefully going to be happy at the end of the day.
Yeah,
But yeah, that what they say. The other thing. Oh, you could go. Or
I was just gonna say, piggybacking off of what Aaliyah said, it's definitely important to communicate with your roommate. I went through roommate selection as well, and you're always gonna have it's different personalities, so you're always gonna have a little trouble. But it's just important to communicate with everybody and recognize that everybody is brought up differently.
We got
and
one.
also, oh, you could go.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Also, when you're choosing a roommate, you always get before, when you choose first, you choose the dorm you want to be in or something, and then they're like, oh, who do you want to room with? There's always a multiple choice question scenario thing. Make sure you fill it out correctly to your personality. Don't just be slacking off. Just be are you a clean person? You're like, yeah, sure. If you think you're a clean person, do 100% clean. Because usually, if you don't do that, you're gonna get a messy person, and you're gonna be crashing all the time. Also, try to write. Usually at the end, there's always a thing saying fill out. How do you call something? Things that you like and stuff like that. Try to fill all those stuff out. It will actually benefit you, and it will help you out to choose a roommate, and it will be easier, and you will connect a little bit more with them. I'll be honest.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
Do people actually admit that they're messy?
Yes, some people actually do, right? They just put, if it's on a scale from 1 to 10, at least they put a 2 or 3.
And I think that it's not necessarily a bad thing to say that you're messy or disorganized because, some people that's just how they function. If they're everything's laid out everywhere, then that's just how they, know where everything is. And that's fine. It's just, if you're that kind of person, then let your roommate know so that they can be prepared for that. Because I think that, if somebody else is clean, it's not necessarily that they don't like disorganization, but maybe they just don't want disorganization on their side of the room. So just, again, communication.
Absolutely, yeah. Communication is absolutely key, and advocate for yourself, right? Don't just you know, continue to accept it, and then you know that you are annoyed with it, because then that just creates tension, you know, between you and your roommate, when you can just have a conversation to say, hey, you know, this is really bothering me. And, you know, if your roommate just decides to not address it, then that's a conversation that you can have with housing or with the RA to see, you know, what other accommodations can be made for you. But always speak up for yourself, advocate for yourself, and communicate for sure, about, you know, what your expectations are before, once y'all get there, the entire time you're in the room together. Like, don't ever feel like you have to silence yourself because, you know, you don't want to hurt someone's feelings, because in the end, you know, your feelings are being hurt too, because you're in a situation that's not the best or most positive for you as well. So, yeah. Great. Any more advice on the roommate situation? Any
One thing,
words of encouragement? Go
I'm
ahead.
sorry. One thing that I just wanted to add quickly was that some people aren't comfortable like talking about, issues that they may have. So I know that one thing that I've heard, that roommates do is that they'll like write notes out and then like give them to the other person or leave them on their desk. So that's like if you don't want to like be standoffish or like confront somebody, then, leaving a note is just, a better way to do that. So you let them know, but, if you don't want to face them directly.
Yeah, same thing that Leah said. So if you notice a problem or see a problem, speak up on it. Like, don't be afraid to confront the situation.
Very good information. Thank y'all. All right, question 3. How did you prepare for the transition for college? So I know we have a mix of virtual and a mix of in-person on campus. So how did you really prepare for that transition into college?
So this is something that's like really, really big. I feel like your entire, like the moment you graduate from high school, you sort of enter that transition mode. So one thing is definitely just having like this preparedness in your mindset, because, you are going to be moving like from your home. For most of us, it's, our first time going off, living alone, being independent. So just, being sure that you're, responsible, that you have a plan for things, and just, know that, you're going to be in college. And so you're going to be, having to discipline yourself, create your own schedule, make sure that you're, taking care of your academic needs and extracurricular needs, as well as like making sure that you, make your living space clean and you have, a meal plan and things like that. And one thing that I wanted to note was that I'm pretty sure most schools have something where they have like, for freshmen, some sort of day or days where they can come in and, get their schedule, look at the campus, things like that. So like at Rice, there's an orientation week that occurs the week before school. So that's when like upperclassmen can, talk to the new students and like show them around campus, their activities, just, to get into the community. So one thing is definitely, definitely, definitely speak to upperclassmen if you can. There's normally going to be like some way that the colleges will connect you to them. And this just helps you with like advice and, just tips that they have and things that they might like, warn you about and things like that. And also, it's good if you have somebody in your intended major, because scheduling is something that you definitely want to think about in the summer before, because for some schools, you can pick your classes whenever, and that's good. But for others, the earlier you do them, the more likely you are to get your classes. So you want to be prepared with, what classes you want to take, who the professors are. Rate My Professor is a great source. So just be prepared with all of those things.
I would say just like have self-discipline, like, cause you're not about to have your parents to do stuff like wake you up for school, help you with homework. So just have self-discipline and like have that mindset that I'm here for a reason, and build a relationship with your advisor. Cause if you do that, that's gonna make your classes like just fall through like smooth. So yeah, I would just say self-discipline and have a good relationship with your advisor. Yeah.
I definitely think it's extremely important to build relationships with those who have experienced college before you, upperclassmen in your major and everything. Definitely go to student orientation. Class of 2024 didn't quite get that experience, but I know some people in 25 who have, and it's definitely made a difference.
Well, for me, it was funny because, well, I like to talk a lot. So for orientation, I did orientation, like not like I did online orientation. So I just became friends with the people who were in my orientation. And after I went to school, I told them, "Hey, let's meet up." And everybody was like, "Yeah, sure, let's meet up." So all of us meet up. We all talk. We were all in the same major, so we all had stories. And like at the end of the semester, we all gather around and still tell the stories how each class went, how we were struggling, what went bad, what went good. We all did all that. So for me, honestly, I would say if you're going with a friend, try make that path, walk that path with the friend. It will be easier. But if you're going alone, try to make company real fast so you won't feel alone. That's one thing I'll say. Friendship will always be a good support for each other.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and sort of, oh, go ahead.
you got it.
Sorry, I was just gonna say that networking is a huge thing in college, and you can start that like right now, right? If you know what college you're going to go to, if you have like a LinkedIn, or even like on Facebook, because I know that a lot of like college extracurricular activities will use that. Find people who go to your college, network with them. Yeah, network with people on this call, and just it's good to have connections because you can always go to people for support. They have resources and opportunities. That's how a lot of people can get internships and jobs. And so, it's never too soon to start networking. Build that network, as early as you can and as wide and diverse as you can.
Kenneth, did you have something?
Oh yeah. But when it comes to like making friends, or if you already have friends there, like make sure that the people you are around like are positive people, not just bring you down. Because when people get in college, some people gonna like stay the same, remain solid and all that. Some people gonna change, like start doing stuff you ain't used to them doing, being a follower and stuff like that. So the people you do be around, you make sure your circle like full of positive people.
Very good advice. You heard a lot about making friends, connecting with people, networking. All those things are super important. Just to, again, we talked yesterday about just like your personal brand and even keeping that in mind, like what your personal brand is, and, finding people within your network that complement who you are as a person and complement your brand. So that is very good advice. Thank y'all so much for definitely sharing that as well about making friends and creating those relationships. So one final question from me before we open it up to the participants. Knowing what you know now, what is something that you would have told yourself at the beginning of your senior year? So knowing what you know now about college, what is something you would have told yourself?
I think like college is a completely different ballgame. So your first semester, you're gonna struggle, and it's okay because you kind of have to just learn how to study differently, learn how to pace yourself, learn a different type of self-discipline. So I think it's okay to struggle at first because eventually you'll get into the groove of things.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. And I guess my advice is also sort of based off of that is be clear on like your purpose and your like path forward because I think when you graduate like up till high school and like senior year, your path is sort of set out for you. You want to take your AP classes and certain standardized exams and you have these extracurriculars and then you want to apply for college and then you graduate and then boom you're going to college, but in college, there's so much more freedom and there's just so much more new stuff there, right? Because, there are so many more classes that you can take, so many extracurriculars that you have the option of doing. And if you're in a new city, in a new place, then you just have so many new things available to you. And of course, you're also deciding what major you want to do, what career was going to work best for you. You're around new people, and it can be really, really, really overwhelming very quickly. So just be clear on, your purpose and, what is meaningful to you, what your values are, and don't leave them behind. Always hold on to them and make sure that whatever you're doing is in line with those values, and that everything that you do is going to help you, it's going to bring you one step closer to achieving your goals. So, if you see other people doing certain things, then don't say, like, oh, I want to do it too, or like feel bad about yourself because you might not be doing the same thing. If it's not something that's, for you and for your future, then, set it aside. If somebody else is doing it, that's completely okay. You focus on your future.
Yeah, like piggyback on what Leah said, I would say like stay 10 toes on your purpose too, because what's gonna carry you when stuff do get hard. Because the advice I would tell myself is like just take your first semester of freshman year, like take it serious. Because if you take your first semester serious, your second semester gonna be easier. Yeah, I ain't saying it's just gonna be like it ain't gonna be no problem, but it's gonna be easier if you already prepared and taking everything serious. And when you take your first semester serious, that's like the baseline of your GPA too. That's where that's where your GPA gonna start at. So take that serious, and yeah, you gonna be sure.
Yeah, but one thing that I do want to add is don't forget to try new things, right? Even though, you want to be focused on your goals, feel free to explore and meet new people and try new activities so that, you can find what other things interest you, but just like make sure that you don't, spread yourself too thin. Because I know in the first semester of college, I had like a bunch of clubs that I wanted to do, and I sort of like joined the communications or like listserv for each of them. And then I quickly realized that, this is too much. So then I had to, take some of those off and only focus on the ones that were really, really, spoke to me.
Great advice. Great. All right, we will now open it up to questions. Any questions, you can share them in the chat. Feel free to unmute and ask, but this is great opportunity.
So, Kashayla, we had one in the chat. What are your tips for a difficult roommate? Who wants to answer this?
My tip might not be professional, but like go up to them, tell them what it is. Like, bro, you need to boom, boom, boom. And then if they don't do it, email the what's name or I'm just let y'all speak.
So I think, yeah, I got you, Kenneth. I think what Kenneth is trying to say is just make your voice heard, right? Let the person know not necessarily what your issue is, but maybe what your grievance is, what you don't like that is happening. And maybe I'm kind of ad-libbing here, Kenneth, provide possible solutions to your issue or your grievance. And if that doesn't work, if your roommate is kind of like, yeah, okay, whatever, or I don't have to listen to you, then maybe getting a resident assistant involved so that they can mediate a conversation or kind of take things further if they need to. Did I get it right, Kenneth?
Yeah, like if you see a problem and you complain about it, but you're not doing nothing about it, you don't really the problem not really affecting you if you ain't saying nothing or doing nothing about it. So if you see something, just approach it.
I think that part, closed mouths don't get fed. If there's an issue, make it known.
Well, for me, for the roommate thing, honestly, I'll just say talk to the person. It's the easiest way. Like try to make it smooth. Don't be like Kenneth. Honestly, try to have a good friendship. That's one thing I'll say. Have a good friendship. Try to tell each other if you see you're clashing back and forth. Talk to your RA. They will find a way. They will tell you how to talk. The RAs are always there to help, and they'll always find something. Like they will always find something for you to be helped with. Like they will always find something.
Next question, we have quite a few coming in the chat. The next question is, what is something you wish you would have known going into freshman year of college?
I think this is something that I kind of already knew. It's because like by senior year, you're comfortable with everything, right? You're familiar with the classes, with all of the processes. You're sort of the bosses, right? You're like at the top of that ladder because you're at the end of your K through 12 education. But then when you come to college, there's so much new stuff to learn. And I think I was very used to like being familiar and just being confident and knowing, what I had to do and everything. But when I came to college, I had to like know that everything wasn't going to be perfect, especially in that first semester, right? You're adjusting to new classes, to a whole new system, and things do get a little bit more challenging. So just be easy on yourself. Work hard and make sure that you're putting in your best effort, but don't be too hard on yourself. Make sure that you are focusing, a lot of your time on setting yourself up for success while still, being okay in that first semester.
Ms. Bree, can you repeat that question one more time?
What's something you wish you would have known going into your freshman year of college? Next question, Kenneth, you don't want to.
I wish I would have knew how important sleep is, because I ain't believe in taking naps or wasting time. No, I'm gonna finish all my stuff. I don't care if I'm a dead zombie doing work. I'm gonna get it done. But what woke me up was second semester. I used to be in meetings. I swear I wouldn't know what's going on, but I would be dozing off in football meetings that was super important. So, and it wasn't until one of my upperclassmen friends told me bro, you need to take naps because you ain't doing nothing but putting stress on yourself. So I was like, all right, bro. I started doing it. I never went back to staying up.
Look at that. Having upperclassmen in your circle, as Aliyah and Kenneth mentioned, is good and beneficial for you, right? When you're slipping, they can definitely say, hey, here's a tip or trick that I used when I was a freshman or a sophomore. This is what you need to do to kind of get better. Thank you, Kenneth.
That was great advice, Kenneth. And I can honestly say I had never met a nap until I went to college. I was not a napper, but when I got into college, that nap was key. So that is part of preserving your mental and physical health. So make sure that you are getting your proper rest. So Kenneth, you spot on with that one, friend. All right, next question. How long did it take you to adjust to college, and what did you do to make your experience better?
Oh, for me, I would say probably a month. Because for the first month was just introduction for me. It was getting to know people. It was funniest thing too for me meeting people. So for me, I just see people walking outside the halls or around the park area, in the middle of the campus, and I just started talking to them, and they all seemed nice. So they also started talking to me. So then I just made friends, and they were upper classmen, or they were also my same grade level. So I just connected with them real easy. So after that, after I had friends, I felt more connected to the campus, and it was easier for me to study, I'll be honest.
Yeah, that's similar to me. Besides the people already, I had 3 people. I had four people that I knew real good. So I wasn't worried about just meeting new people and stuff, because I ain't really know being a person face, all friendly type person. But it took me a month too. I started meeting new people, and then we'll do stuff to go to parties together, do simple events, study groups and stuff like that. So I say study groups and going doing events with new people that build your relationship in college.
I would just like to add, Kenneth did mention going to parties, but he also said study groups. So there is a balance. There is a balance, okay? There is a healthy balance with both. With both. All right, moving into balance. That was a good segue. How did you balance your social and school life, and was it difficult?
For me, I thought it was gonna be difficult balancing both stuff, but it wasn't, I'll be honest. Because usually you're like, some friends are like, hey, let's go study, but we're also gonna hang out at the same time. So it was like a whole hour studying or two. And then the rest of the time, which it was like 4 hours, I'll be honest, it was like 2 hours for studying, and then 4 hours of playing around, having fun, going out. But usually for me, we were like, because we did all our stuff, we did it throughout the day, and from like 10 p.m. all the way until 1, we were playing Uno outside the patio, like outside, like on one of the school benches, and we're just hanging out outside, just having fun, playing Uno, listening to music and all that. One time I did go to bed like around 2 in the morning, just because I was hanging out with my friends playing poker. I won $2 that night. But I won something, so I'm still happy about that. No, $2.50. I forgot the 50 cents. That was important. But other than that, like, it is easier to manage Harikal school and social life. It's pretty good, and you will enjoy it.
With me, I was like at first semester, it wasn't that really hard. Like it was really easy. But second semester, um, like people I was like real close to would be like, bro, like, dang, we don't even see you no more during school, or you don't even come see me. Cause I was like so busy during second semester. First, because that was when the season started, and I started taking my classes more serious. And I would like be in the library until like 12 o'clock. So yeah, before you do have fun, just take care of your priorities first. No matter if anybody's saying, bro, where you been and stuff. Like I've been taking care of my business. That's what I've been doing.
Yeah, that's a good point. I feel like you shouldn't get, stressed out if people say, oh, come hang out with us. Make sure that you take care of your business first. And I think in college, it like because you're living with people and because your entire life is like at school, right? Because in, K through 12, you go to school, then you come home and life is a little different. But when you go to college, your whole life is school, which means, you have to sort of make sure that you find a good balance because you're working like the same people that you're going to school with, you're living with them. And I think for me, I like hung out with people during study groups. So like Reg said, it's kind of like, you study, but you also sort of hang out. So it's actually not as hard as you would think because you get work done, and since you're with your friends you still enjoy, you're hanging out with them. And yeah, it's just you're living with your friends. It's like a big sleepover all the time. That's what I've heard people say about college. So it's basically like you're having fun, but make sure that you get time for work, and get that work done as well.
Yeah, great advice. Great, great, great advice. So many amazing questions in the chat. Let's see. Bree, did you see one that you wanted to throw out real quick? I'm scrolling back up.
Yeah, so sorry. Let me just go ahead and say, like, we do have to end at 12 for WITS. We went a few minutes over yesterday into their time, so we want to make sure that we want to ask all of your questions, but we will have to kind of pick a few. I think a good one. Any tips for handling difficult classes or difficult professors?
Talk to your professors, man. Honestly, sometimes your professor will feel like they're your friends because they act like it. It's not the things you hear in high school that professors are gonna be so hard on you. They're gonna do all this. They're gonna want your essay like early in the morning and all this. They're not like that. Let's settle that down. They're actually more calm, more chill. Like if you tell, like, just communicate. That's the most important thing with a professor. Communication is what dictates your grade, honestly. Like, one time I was supposed to train in an essay, like I was just supposed to train it in, but like I didn't have it done. So I emailed my professor. I was like, hey, some stuff are going on, some classes are becoming a little bit more hard. I need to do this. Can you give me an extension more? And then she was like, yeah, don't worry, I'll give you two more extra days. And those 2 extra days actually helped me, and they helped me get a better grade. just talk to your professors, they will understand. And since they're professors, they know you have a life outside of school, so they know if you have a job or something, so just talk to them.
Yeah, I would say, yeah, communicate with your teachers too. And don't be disrespectful towards your teacher and then expect them to do a favor for you. Like if you did do an assignment late, well, I ain't gonna lie to you. I know like CCC in here, but like say you did an assignment late, but you did it, like, I ain't gonna lie. I didn't lie and said I did the assignment, but when I pressed the submit button, something went wrong. But I'm telling you, like, they'll go for stuff like that if you like respectful for the to the teacher, which I call it nowadays like a teacher's pet, or like even just laugh at their jokes sometimes, even if they not funny at all. Like it'll help, like, for sure.
Yeah, and a tip for dealing with difficult classes is definitely go to office hours. I feel like people don't take enough advantage of those, and teachers will often say that, they sit empty at office hours, but that's such a great time to, get questions answered and just also develop a really good relationship with your professors, because you can literally just go in and chat with them. And like, they've already said, professors are a lot nicer than you would think, and they really are, going to become like your friends. And it's definitely not like K through 12, because I feel like there's a hierarchy. There's the teachers and then there's the students. In college, of course, you want to be respectful, but be open with them and let them know of your situation.
Yeah, like if you like piggybacking what she said again, if you let them know your situation, have a good relationship with them, like it's nothing but positive things that's gonna come out of that. I like one of my teachers, I had just got off the plane and I went to class with my luggage, like for real. Like it still be like that, it'd be so serious. But just like build a relationship with your teacher, and then like hopefully if you need them for like a resume or something, or they need to review you as a student, like who you are, they're gonna give you a good one. Like, cause that's what my one of my professors did for me.
I definitely think office hours is very important. Like even if even though you don't know what you want to ask or how to ask it, just go, because a lot of times professors will talk specifically, especially about things that are important for their class. So I definitely think office hours is even if you think you're doing good in the class, go to office hours.
Take advantage every time that you can to connect with your professor or your instructor. And that kind of links to something else that was in the chat about like class size. So each campus, each university, the class size will differ. So sometimes you will have a very good opportunity to form relationships with your professor because it might be a smaller class. And then if you're in a bigger lecture class, you may just feel like one in the 178 or whatever that's in that class. But again, if you have an opportunity to visit office hours or have direct communication with your professor, take advantage of that. All right, one final question. How did you choose your schedule for your classes as far as morning classes, midday, Fridays? How did y'all choose your schedule?
For me, I chose like lunch classes. I didn't want to like I wanted to sleep in, but I also wanted to do my work during the morning. So all of that, and then like a little bit after 2 or 3, there were no more classes from like 2 or 3. There were no more classes for me because after 5, probably I was either at work or hanging out with my friends. So that's the other thing, or studying. You heard that, CCC, right? So after 6 or something, I was like studying or doing some other stuff. No, after 5, I was hanging out with my friends. Can't lie, but yeah. So like try to but it has to connect towards you or how you are. I'll be honest. It has to connect how you are. For me, I'm a night owl, but I'm also an early person. So I used to wake up early to do all my work to go to classes, but I used to stay up all night just to study and just be in person.
Yeah, it all depends on like what type of person you is. My classes, they was like earlier in the day, but some classes would end at like probably like 5 at the latest. Just because I needed like that opening to eat, study for a little bit, probably take a nap. But I only had one class. It was 7 p.m. to 10 p.m. and it was a lab class. I had that class like every Wednesday. Just whatever you do, make sure you know where your class is at. Like when it come to time of the day, I had it 7 p.m. to 10 p.m. And yeah, it was because I was an athlete. And bro, I used to look at the time, and it felt like I was in there for like 2 days or something. Like bro, just make sure you know what time your class is going.
I think as much as you think you're a morning person, an 8 a.m. class will definitely kick your butt. So, try to aim. I aimed more towards midday, like Rico said. Start out about 9 a.m. and be done by 2 so that you can have time, study, hang out with friends. If you have to work, eat, just study, do whatever you need to do.
Yeah, cause like right now, y'all thinking like y'all probably like it's 8 a.m. Like we go to school because in high school I know y'all go to school like what 6, 7. It's like, bro, that ain't nothing. It's only 8 o'clock. Do an 8 o'clock class, then well you gonna regret it for real. So if you ain't no early person or you ain't gonna get up, don't do it.
Yeah, and also I think one thing to keep in mind is that for certain classes, especially like your major specific classes, because I had a few this year, you won't have a choice like when you're picking your classes, or that might just be because, if you go to a smaller school, but sometimes you won't have, a choice for your, picking your classes or class timings. So just be aware that, sometimes you're going to have to work around that. And so just be prepared for it. And for me, I also had for certain classes, exams were at night. So some exams I had from like 7 to 10 p.m., which I did not like at all. But again, you have to like just adjust and make do. So of course, try to make your schedule as like fitting to your lifestyle as possible, but know that sometimes you're just gonna have to, suck it up and, do what you have to do because, that's just what you got to do.
And like now, like this question, what I'm about to say don't relate to the question, but like it's 2021 now, bro. Like if you really just fell in the class, because if you fell in the class now, and I'm not talking about like no C or D, but if you fell in the class with like a 60 or 55, I think it's because you really not trying. Because, bro, let's be honest. Like, again, I know CCC in here, bro, but every question a teacher can ask you is online. Like, it's no way around that, bro. Like, I'm gonna be honest. Like, if you need help, you can go to your teacher. It's a lot of resources that can help you. But say you doing a test or not a test, like an assignment. They got apps that tell you the answers. Like it's no way you should be failing, and you got people around you too, stuff like that. So
most importantly, you all have office hours. So if you really have questions on your assignments, it's okay. I'm gonna help you out. If you really have questions on your assignments, you're gonna go to your professor. You're going to have a network of friends that you can reach out to that are also taking your classes that can help you with those assignments. That's what you meant to say, right?
Yeah, that's what I meant to say, really. And you got like upperclassmen that took that class before, like they makes you like get in contact with them too, because they'll help you.
Yeah, and even your own peers. Yeah, because like, oh, sorry. I was just gonna say, like in high school, I was never a group studier. I was always like, I had to study on my own, otherwise I couldn't really focus. But in college, I found that like the teachers expect you to work together, whether it's on your homeworks or studying, because that's just the nature of the work. It's like you discuss, you talk about it, you answer each other's questions and you figure it out together. So, definitely, find peers that you can work with and, create study groups and study sessions so that you can have a better understanding of the material.
Yeah, like Ms. Bree said, be open to change how you study and like how you learn and stuff, because that's gonna be important for.
Absolutely, absolutely. So that wraps up our student panel portion. If y'all will give all of our alumni a round of applause for sharing all the raw and uncut knowledge and experiences from their first year of college. We are so proud of y'all and just excited to see what the next phase of your college careers and your professional careers bring forth. Thank y'all so much for joining us and pouring in our 2020, what class is this? 2021 graduates. Thank y'all again for joining us and giving us your time. I know that some of y'all are running on very little hours of sleep, so your time with us is done unless y'all just want to hang out. Y'all